I had to bring my pops back on the platform, man. We was having a conversation about something real powerful. You know, when you was basically going into your story of how in your most dangerous situations, the Most High is the most closest to you. You
Yeah.
know, so you gotta get into that, man, because
On that, see, my situation is different than compared to maybe a lot of people. We talking about far as like in the streets.
yeah,
When I went into the streets, I had a purpose plus already had a relationship with the Most High. Compared to, I'm gonna just compare it to a lot of people that was around me, ventured out into the streets because it was, I ain't gonna say it was convenient, but it was convenient. Um, things wasn't good at home, so they was outside due to circumstances. A lot of times, like you see, like their mother probably was back in the days kicking it with somebody that was running the streets, making some money, or a cat father might have been in the streets. So, like sometimes the mothers trying to groom their sons to run out into the streets. And a lot of times they end up getting hit because um, the value wasn't there. They don't know why they there. They think, oh, I can go out here, make me some money. And they think it's something for them to do, it's things to do, but it's not. They wasn't called for that. So a lot of people, it's like they end up in that situation. I tell people like, oh man, people brag about being in the streets. I'm like, well, a bum be in the streets. The homeless be in the streets. That don't mean that you was called to be out there. So
what did that calling look like? Because like to be called to be out there, like, because is that something you wanted to do? Is it just something like a person naturally catch on to things?
I wanted to go out there because I like, my father was older. So, my father was like mid-30s and my mother was like 19, 20 when he had me. So you figure my daddy was already like in the streets. He was known and everything. He did some things out there. But to me, it was the way him and his friends carried themselves. Like, how like you watch them
Yeah, yep.
the old school movies. It was the way they carried themselves. It wasn't about, they said like when the movie Scarface came out, it just changed the whole culture of the streets where, now you gotta look like Tony Montana, the movie Scarface. I mean, he was a killer. He wasn't a businessman. You know what I'm saying? But when you watch some old school flicks, everybody in the streets had a position. Everybody carried themselves in that position. When you watch Scarface, he made it cool to sell drugs, to go kill people, you know what I'm saying? Now anything goes now. They said when the movie Scarface came out, the murder rate in the black community, but even like in the streets went way up. And even when you watch the movie Blow, they say, anything that America wants, especially like black people to do, they put it in the movie. And then we think it's cool, just like they say back when Superfly came out. Everybody went and got perms and all that carrying on stuff. Then when the so-called like Black Power movement jumped off, and then everybody went and got afros. So they know how they can control black folks through the narrative of like whatever movie they want to put out, and then they just make it cool like it's the thing to do. And everybody be like, oh yeah, we're gonna try that. You know, um, when I was on the road, that was just common because when I went into the streets, um, when I was like 14, 15, I think, coming up in Detroit, the first city I hit was like uh, Minnesota. So you was like a 15-hour ride. It was 13 or 15-hour ride from Detroit. But so I came into the game hitting different cities. But then when the movie Blow came out, now you run into dudes that had don't know nothing about it. Here they come, and now all the police got to do is just sit back and watch because like they said, majority of the people in the streets is telling because a lot of people that's out there is not made for the streets. Like I said, they just homeless. So to go back to the question that you asked earlier, is like it. To me, being in the streets, like, yeah, it's like you're closest to God because every second your life is on the line. And he have to be in your life for you to make it through, for you to survive that. And like I said, you hear about a lot of cats getting done bad because some kind of way they compromised. They shouldn't have been out there in the first place, but they didn't have that protection. So you got me here. I'm still able to move around. I remember somebody asked me before, it was like a supervisor. So like, don't you be scared to go into your old neighborhoods or whatever? I'm like, no, I can still go anywhere I want to go. I never had any issues because I kept my name good wherever I went. Like there's places and connects and stuff that if I want to go back that route, I can go and I have a place to stay. Like I can go, knock on the door, I can, come in, get comfortable, chill, until I can get right. You know what I'm saying? Get thrown, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And, but it was also the way I carried myself. I wasn't in the streets to get over. So to have the Most High walk with you, when you're out there, you still have to play by his rules. Like, he would tell me like, man, you can go out there, but keep your innocence. Cause I was involved in a lot of stuff, but then it was like, in them early 80s, we was talking about that earlier, like the thing was, it was the principle. Mm-hmm. So that's why in the movie Friday, when Big Worm was like, it's the principle about this, Smokey, it's the principalities. The reason why, because in them early 80s, the principles was such a big thing. Like you got killed off principles. Mm. You didn't get killed because how much money or whatever. As far as like all the older guys that I was around, the way how they was giving it to me and teaching me, it was, you got done bad based off, something that's some kind of way that you compromise. You would hear like somebody got killed over $20. And it was like, it wasn't the $20 because the $20 didn't matter. It was the fact that you gave your word that you was gonna do something and you didn't do it. And that's what I liked about it because like, even like we used to listen to Dre and he talk about like when he was in the streets, he talk about how his dad and how they moved. Like I say, like, I believe when me and him talk, I believe our dads was around like the same age. So I understand where he's coming from in that because my dad and his friends, every time you seen them, they were suited. I probably could still count on maybe one or both of my hands how many times I actually seen my daddy in blue jeans. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even when he was messed up or, going through whatever he was going through, whatever addition, whatever. Majority of times, man, at first when I remember him, he always had a suit. When he would, go to the streets to do whatever, he was suited. I would go with him to his friend's house. I was young. But every time we went to one of his friend's house, they were suited and it was always a chess game. And they would conversate, you would hear intelligent conversations while they was playing chess. And I used to be like, oh my God, they about to play this game again, and you be there for hours and you got to sit there and just watch, be quiet, couldn't make no noise, whatever. You had to sit there and just watch. So So that's why I say my walk with the Most High, as far as being outside, may have been different because he was always testing me, testing who I was, what I will do, what I won't do, how, you know what I'm saying, and would I still stand for him? You know what I mean? So when I was in the streets, no matter, I didn't going to put it on the streets. So whatever I was doing, it wasn't about the money. Because sometimes I done took trips and carrying on, didn't make no money. But it's just the fact that I just love being in that environment. I love being able to look out for, somebody who just needed my help with whatever. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I would take a trip and wouldn't make zero and still risking my life, And I remember, the Most High told me, he told me I would be in the fire, it was like the lion's den, but it was with fire. Like it's crazy. Like everything that he told me, I could remember it like yesterday. But I was young, even before I got into the streets and all that. And I was like, man, what do you mean by that? I'm gonna be in the lion's den with fire? Like, but I'm thinking in the Bible, like I'm gonna be actually in that situation. But when you outside in them streets, man, like what that is. So, and then you see the compromise in a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? You watch parents spend their whole check in the house and can't pay their rent, and you know what I'm saying, you see them compromise they home. Women come and they marry and things like that, and they would sleep with guys in the house. I never tricked or anything like that, but you would just watch like they will go sleep with somebody so they can go get high or get a couple of dollars so they can go back home and pay whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, and it was like the Most High was walking me through that and he was also teaching me things what not to do. Even like with my father, a lot of things that he did, he will always teach me to be a gentleman. But I learned how to be a gentleman by a lot of things that he did that was compromising. He didn't put us in situations that was, compromising. So when I say like when you in the streets, you closer to death, it's like they say a woman is closest to death when she's giving birth. Man, us men is closer to death when you I ain't gonna, because you could get killed for any whatever. A bum can run up on you, and take your life because because he desperate, But it's that that any moment I could be taken away from my family. I can go to jail, I can get robbed, I get killed, and sometimes that robbery, man, you get robbed sometimes. I've been robbed at times when I wish I was dead because I got all these bills due, and some of it might have been mine, some of it might have been belonged to somebody else, whatever. And I'm like, oh man, now I got to get back on my feet. I got to get so-and-so their money. But luckily, I always had a good word in the street. So even if I went back and told somebody like, hey, whatever, something just happened, they would be like, oh man, don't let that stop us, man, and get me back right where I can keep on moving and I can just, straighten them out, as I went. So it's it's a lot of things where a lot of guys don't live by. But then you gotta look too. I tell people, hey man, them crack babies grown up too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I hate to call them, crackheads, but they had a whole different thing. So, you understand, they taught their children different things about the game compared to the way we got it. So them coming, them kids and babies coming up, or even if this person is not a crack baby, they friends, you know, like, 'cause there was a lot of crack babies that came up, you know, during the time. They then took over and made the rules theirs. But, you know, they come from an environment where they watching their parents spend their money, their grocery money with the dope. So they come up with like a anger thing. So when we came up, it was about your crew. Nobody was bigger than the crew. So you did stuff, you did it for your crew. It was about us. Them, they came up in an environment where every man is for themselves. And now you see that in the streets like that. So it's not the same environment. A lot of times back in the days when somebody would get killed, you'd be like, oh yeah, he did something. You know, he wasn't all this, you know, dude just want to crash out. Like, man, what? So like I say, be in that. So whether you was in the streets then, whether you streets now, it's still the same thing apply. Like, man, you got to still have that protection of the Most High to be able to walk in that fire with them lions and come out unfazed. You know what I'm saying? I never been shot. I've been shot at. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been, you know, the Most High that took me through some things to test me to see where I was at. But it's not only for that. It's also just like people that's watching this. The Most High took you through things for a purpose. I look at it for these end times. And what I mean by the end times, you know, because at first, for the long time, I believed the Bible, but I didn't believe the Bible. I'm like, oh man, you know, people be like, oh man, that's the white man's religion, all this and that. But I'm like, well, man, how did that Bible know we was gonna be enslaved for 400 years? How did he, then everything, all the end times, all this, everything happens after that 400 years. And then I'm like, you know, the nation, they be like, or, you know, different people, they be like, oh yeah, slavery started in 1555. Maybe so, but slavery in America started in 1619. And they said this was the worst part of slavery. So you got 1619, 2019, 400 years. You know what I'm saying? See, now it's at a time, you know, where white people will keep, I ain't gonna even say white people because, you know, because you got black people that's white. So I'm just gonna say them people, it was a time where they kept everything a secret and they would keep you down. Man, this America is falling so bad and so hard. They want to give you the money. They want to give you the information now. Hey man, come over here, man. I can teach you this and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? They trying to give you the game now. Why now? You see what I'm saying? And I look at it like, sometimes like, there's a lot of people that knows, and I think they also in this space where it's like, man, I got to clean my conscience. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be some Satans, some demons that's going to come in that end time and say, well, yeah, man, yeah, God, I did do all that. But I also did this. I tried to do this. I tried to do that. To clean, you know, to clean their clothes up. And it's like, yeah, but what was your intent? Did you do it because you genuinely wanted to do that? Or was your intent was, oh, well, let me try to get clean so I can still be let in. I can still be accepted in. You know what I mean? So my message back to the world is the Most High then took you through things for these times. Because, man, I got some good game, some good understanding, some good ways to move from crackheads. Man, hey, young blood, you don't want to do this and carrying on. The first time I heard the word Quran was from a crackhead up in the, you know what I'm saying, up in the spots, because in the spots, you know, back in the city, in Detroit, before everybody started listening to Atlanta, we didn't call them trap house. We called them the spots, or it was the crack house. You know, the world called them the crack house. We call them the spot. Oh man, I got a spot over here. I got this spot. Hey, man, I'm about to go over here to the spot. But it was a lot of information and game that was getting taught, kicked and everything sitting up in those spots. You know what I mean? So, politics and all that, you got a lot of game just sitting around. You got the old school cats coming in, and then all I do is spark one conversation. Then this person get to talking about what they've been through, what they know. Then somebody else come in and cop. And then now you look up, you got a house, it's 10, 20 people up in there, and we all just kicking it. You know what I'm saying, about some things. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, that's be the people that I be wanting to reach out to, because they feel like, oh man, either they feel bad, like they can't go anywhere else. Nobody can accept us. Or they go back to the church, but they going in as a beggar. But they got more information, more game than the preacher. You know what I mean? Because the most times I heard the Bible was in the spots. When people break it down, what they're going through, and then bring it through like the word and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They have outgrown the preacher. They have outgrown the church. They have outgrown the minister in the nation. They have outgrown the nation. And the only reason I say that, because the nation is the closest thing to us, but they kind of come with that whole Christian thing where it's kind of like you gotta clean that up. You know what I mean? And when you look in that Bible, it was killers, it was winos. You know what I'm saying? Look at the people who was making the most noise, the biggest noise. They didn't come from a square position in life. It was a person who didn't been through some things. And that's who the Most High was working with to raise up a nation, to conquer a nation, to move this way, to make his presence known and felt through these people. You can't do that through no square. So I be looking at people, they done been through a lot of things that the Most High done sent him for his purpose. And then you go to the church and then throw it away. Yeah. And then the church, or I'm just gonna say the religious world don't value it. They don't accept it. They don't want you, they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's a lot of compromising going on in there. But when you come in as real, then it's like, oh man, he too real. People out there, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like, you know what you have and you think you're in that right place, and then they want to trying to shunt you, they trying to get you out the way and make you feel like you're not worthy to be there, and you're not. Because the Most High didn't call them. The Most High didn't call, they called the nation at one time, but the nation was before this time. Because the prophecy happens after the 400. Master Farad Muhammad came basically like 100 years before the 400 years, was up. So, they're going to say, oh, well, no, that was the preparation and start getting us ready. Man, after the 400, it's after the 400 years. You see what I'm saying? So the Most High is not going to put something out there. If that's the case, why you have to mention 400 years? Right. He's going to say, hey, you're going to be in slavery, and then when I feel like coming, I'm going to come. He said 400 years for a reason. Mm-hmm. So you got people who the Most High didn't touch. That's what I like to call it, The Most High didn't touch them for his purpose, and then you go amongst religious folks who don't understand or value what the Most High didn't put you through. I'm gonna just go testimonies, and now you go right back into that situation, and then you go back worse because you feel like, well, I didn't sin this bad, the church don't want me, and the Most High is not in the church. You know what I'm saying? That's why he said, the prophecy, the promise is with Isaac and the children of Israel. When did that change? But then you got the 400 years. So all that still happens, but even when you talk about, when you go into the scripture, Jesus talks about the end times. Even the disciples were saying, so do we go back to Jerusalem now? So if Jesus was the one 2,000 years ago, then that means the 400 years would have been up for 400 years ago. But at the same time, he said, man, I'm looking for the lost sheep from the lost tribe of Israel. So he's saying, but we wasn't lost yet. So that's why it wasn't, he found us. But then they switch over to the whole Gentile thing, which is everybody else outside of us. and make us forget who we are, and now they want you to become a Gentile. That's why Paul, when he was trying to get at them, he changed a lot of their traditions and said, okay, well, look, we do our thing on Saturday, but since y'all into this sun god, okay, we gonna make it Sunday. Okay, y'all do this on this right here. Okay, make this day this. You see what I'm saying? And then, to try to get them to, to understand or to go in, but, the promise wasn't with them. So again, man, it's my message is for like them people who feel like either they thinking about, because the guy was telling me last week how he was, going through a whole lot of things he'd been through, and he got to find him a church. And I just wanted to ask him so bad, like, why the church? I understand it because I grew up in the church, but it's like, a lot of times when we say, okay, we want to go get ourselves right, the first thing we think of, well, okay, I got to start going back to church. But the church ain't right. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to use the nation as an example. The Most High can't use you after the compromise. You see what I'm saying? That's why he said, man, I got to do a whole new thing. Yeah. A whole new thing. Why? Because it's compromising the church. Because I got to go talk to the Most High in the end, and he turned around and say, well, why you didn't come to church? I got a list of things I can tell him why I didn't go to the church. What he gonna turn? What can he say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go into the nation. Same thing. Yeah, but God, if you was there, why would you allow this and that and this in your name? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So he had to create a whole new thing because you have to see him in it. You see what I'm saying? You got to see him, not the compromise. You see what I'm saying? So the compromise can't be, oh, well, it's like I say, I tell people like, far as Elijah Muhammad with the other wives, it's like, well, they in Islam. You can do that. But why'd you have to keep it a secret? And they'd be like, yeah, oh, well, a lot of brothers wasn't ready for it. Okay, well, let's fast forward it. Farrakhan said the same thing, and he said he had multiple wives, and he had other children, whatever. Okay. Why? Well, we could do this, okay, no, but you can't do it. But you raising me to be like Elijah. Mm-hmm. You raising me to be, so you mean to tell me all this time you've been teaching, you can't, and we haven't came up to your understanding yet? To just say, hey, I'm like David, I can do it, but you can't do it. Then what's the purpose of me trying to live my life to be like you or to be like Elijah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? You know what I mean? Why? The purpose is crazy. So, even when I was in the nation, I would be around brothers, that did time and all that. And it's like, yeah, man, I had to I got to clean all that up. That's not me no more. It's like, man, that's still you, but you got to make it for God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you may have made mistakes in your past. Everybody did something in their past. But that's how the Most High get his glory. Not for me to go through all that and then all of a sudden I forget. I forget who I am. Because even in the streets or whatever you went to, in the black community, it's always, oh man, you forgot where you came from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you want to turn around and now you want to use the situations that the Most High put you through and then turn around and say, okay, I can't use that no more. That's not me. Now I ain't saying like, oh, yeah, I was a thief then, so now I can go steal, but I got to steal for the Most High now. Now, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, okay, I never been a thief, but if I stole, then I gotta take the accountability for that and say, you know what? I did do that. And this is what I did to make it right. This is what I'm doing now due to that situation right there is why I'm making it right. So that's why even with that situation, Like I said, when I keep going back to them people who done been in them streets, who have been through them situations, the church is not your home. And the first thing the church gonna want to do is, okay, do you still got some of that money that you was making in the streets? Can you bring that over here? Same thing with the mosque. You know what I mean? They can't use your talent. Show me somebody that was in the streets besides Malcolm, who was in the streets, who used his talent that he learned from the streets to raise a church, to raise a mosque after Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X had them colors, which a lot of people, the colors go over their head. I ain't even gonna go into that because, they're not gonna understand the colors. But it's a walk that you have, that the Most High, first he tests you on to see if you qualify. Once you qualify, you have to stay in it. A lot of people, a lot of times, once they get there, then they turn around and compromise. Like Malcolm X compromised in the end. Everything that he said not to do, he did. Don't go back. You got a problem with your brother. Don't you go to the white man. Don't go to them folks and tell them, put your business out to the world. You go run to them and tell them the business. That's the first thing Malcolm X did. He did a lot of things to compromise who he was. And I remember an old school gentleman told me before, he said, man, before God lets Satan have his way with you, you got to compromise. I was like, what you mean by that? He said, he got to turn you into a hypocrite. He have to, once you stand and you decide to sit down for any reason, you just validated your death. I done had, guys tell me, saying old school guy told me, he said, man, before anybody, no, I don't know who told me this. I think it was the old school guy though. He said, man, before anybody can do anything to you out there in the streets, man, they got to validate it. And I thought about that. I said, man, even before, somebody rob you or whatever, they gotta, I mean, you a H-A-N-word. You know what I'm saying? They gotta devalue you first before they can hit you. Once they accept the validation, then that opens up what they next move. But then where are you at in your protection with the Most High? You see what I'm saying? Because the same dude said, but man, you know how you can get out of that? I said, how? He said, man, you got to put doubt in their heart. I was like, ooh, that's cold. How do you do that? Then he explained that to me. Like, how do you put doubt in a person's heart who already have their mind set to kill you? So imagine how quick you got to establish doubt when you pumping your gas and somebody run up on you, they trying to rob you with carrying on, and how can you turn around and walk away from that situation? You know what I'm saying? You got to think fast, man. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I love about over here in the Remnant. It's like, in the nation, Elijah said, man, give me your less fortunate, give me your has-beens, give me your nobodies, and I can turn them into somebody. But over here in this Remnant, like, we really doing that. Of course, if you pimp, oh man, that's nothing. Bring that. Oh, you used to sell dope? Oh man, we ain't worried about that. Bring that. You used to do this, you used to do that. You was a scum of the earth, you was a square. Oh man, bring all that. We accept all that. You know what I mean? Then once you come over here, like we used to do back in the day, man, cross this line. Once you cross this line, now start seeing how this information is going to start working in your life. Because over here, we say, we come to conquer, right? We come to govern. So we come to do all them things. What information are we getting over here that's different from everybody else? Mm-hmm. The nation been around for almost 100 years. 2030, that'd be like 100 years. Especially with that 2034, that'd be 100 years. So What laws have they changed? Black people been getting killed forever. What have they done to step up and say, man, to show, man, the Most High is over here with us, compared to doing the same thing? I mean, man, when I was at FOI, they said, man, yeah, the minister said the Final Call newspaper is his number one, I don't know if he said, they said messenger, number one soldier, this is his number one. I said, well, let the paper sell themselves then. Sit them down and let them do the work. You know what I'm saying? But we say over here, man, bring all that stuff over here and watch how you start conquering and governing things in your life, and watch how the Most High start working for you. Because everybody in every religion or whatever, they're going to say the same thing. Oh, God is over here working. Yeah, but what is he doing for you, your household, your people, your family, you know, everything? Where is your receipts to show that things that you've done is bigger than us? Because I done hung around religious folks, I've been in the nation, I've been around activists, I've been around revolutionaries, I have been around all kind of activists, and one thing I can say, you're gonna see the compromise. You know, I still got activist friends, and they talk all the black power stuff in the world, but you see really all they want is a job. I just want to be able to sit down. It's like they was doing back in the 60s. I just want to take care of my family. But they use it in a way like I'm here to give these people hell or protest, make a stand, but all they want is a job. You know what I mean? Because okay, if you conquer what you came to do, okay, then once you done got all your people in position, now what? You see what I'm saying? What happens to your job now? What is your purpose in life now? They don't have one. So their job is to pretend like they're doing something just so they can keep a seat, you know, to keep their paychecks. Because they're getting paid some type of way. Al Sharpton, you know, this guy was a snitch. But he was an activist under all this, you know. Now, if he was selling drugs, I'd be like, oh, okay, because I get the movement and all that. You know, you trying to get some money together to help make some things happen. But then you turn around, but you snitch. Who you snitch on? Who did you have to compromise for you to compromise? You understand what I'm saying? So it just be a whole lot of, so like, over here, they call me the buffer or whatever, because I like to, on the West Coast, they got the saying like pull, saying they'll, pull your car, and I'm a habitual car puller. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what you about. I'm about to see how you gonna respond. I'm about to see how you gonna react. I'm about to see how see what your next move is gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Because I live chess. I don't just, play it. I want to see how, if I move the piece right here, how you gonna counteract with your piece,
That's powerful. See,
Yeah, answer the question.
huh?
Yeah, did I answer your question? Did I go ahead?
Yeah, no, you went
Okay.
in depth with it. Yeah, no, it was definitely some pointers. I mean, the whole governing and conquering aspect more so, because like how you say, like we got to see it, and like when you're looking at other worlds, like that talk about like black empowerment and things like that, and we on the news all day for something that what I'm saying.
Yeah, and even with you saying that, it's like when you hear black folks talking about conquering, it's money.
Yeah.
We need some money. We watch some old black flicks. It was back then. We need guns. We need guns.
Yeah.
Now they gave black folks guns. Now it's we need the money. We need the money. Now they giving you money and all kind of stuff. Now they we need something else. They got everything, but they don't got the Most High. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna always be searching. And it's like they going back looking at them folks saying, what do we need now, boss? What do we need now?
Yeah. The same people you trying to conquer.
The same people. I used to tell revolutionaries, so-called activists and all that, they out here getting, concealed, so they can carry their guns and all this carrying on stuff. I'm like, yeah, but y'all in the black neighborhoods, but you got guns, but your guns are still pointed at us. Because I don't still hear y'all saying, oh, we about to go over here and do this. Then, oh, but we got to get ready for the war. I said, but then where you going to get your bullets from?
Yeah.
So you're going to go to war with them folks and then go right back to them and say, hey, hold on, this over here in this square, this is peace talk. So over here is neutral. So you get into the box with them and say, okay, we need more guns because y'all either, we got the one up on y'all and, we need more guns, or man, y'all hurting us. We need more guns. Either way, you got to go ask them folks for more guns. Then, okay, now you got all the guns, you got all the bullets, and they making them bullets every day, all day, even with other weapons and all that. And you talking about, oh, we need more guns so we can go get ready to go to war with y'all. In history, they said, yeah, man, America went to war. What was that? The Revolutionary War. All the lives and stuff that was lost, right? All the stuff that America did, all that. You know how Canada got their independence?
Nah.
Wrote a letter. America fought, wasted lives, all that, you know what I'm saying? Canada wrote a letter and got their independence.
I want to add something on to that. Oh, go ahead.
So black people is like, because they want to be Americans. We got to fight them the America way. We got to challenge them, conquer them the America way. Man, I want to do it the Canada way. Let me sit back and put some brilliance behind this. Write a letter. Let us come to some type of agreement and understanding and go on with our lives. You got what you wanted. I got what I wanted. Everybody gets to go home at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you run in the streets, it's funny, like on TV, they always make the light-skinned dope man the sophisticated one. They got to make the dark-skinned drug dealer the crazy one. You can't trust the dark-skinned one, but you can trust the light-skinned one. You know what I mean? And it's just like that in the world. The light-skinned one, he's the intelligent. He gonna sit back and he's gonna come with some intelligence, where the dark-skinned drug dealer, he gonna just crash out. He gonna go on a dummy mission. He gonna do this and that. And that's what Black America is. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the intelligent guy to sit back and be like, man, I'm about to use my brilliance and, working with the Most High, working through me to come and conquer and govern this situation. And we both can go home at the end of the day with a smile on our face that we both got something accomplished. You know what I mean? Go ahead, what was you about to say?
Oh no, just going back to like that whole thing, like we used to teach us not to have weapons and stuff like that. Because you say if you do have a gun on you, you lose that sense of thinking. Them weapons make you have an emotional response to everything, because you think the power is on your side, compared to when you just moving just with the Most High. You know what I mean? He gonna give you things to say. He gonna give you, let you know in advance how to move in these situations, and you gonna always come out on top.
Yeah. The most trouble I had in the streets is when I had a gun. Then just think, you get caught with a gun, you getting caught with that gun, and I'm about to catch a case for this dope. That's more time on top of. Remember, even when y'all was running the streets, I would tell, man, look, just deal with close friends and family. Why do I got to go deal with Bozo? Because the money is not that important. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure somebody that I'm dealing with is dealing with a Bozo. Let them deal with the Bozo. I'm not about, see, and then like you said, with the whole gun situation, when I stopped walking around with a gun, because mind you, in my 8th grade, I got caught with a pistol. So I was known as pistol guy, whatever, you know. But when I stopped carrying a gun, see, you know, it's like you say, when you lose your arm, or like you lose your eyes or whatever, other senses kick in. Mm-hmm. So when I don't have a pistol on me and I gotta move like this, see, now I'm paying, you know, them other senses come in. So now I'm listening to you talk.
Right.
Because I'm listening for some anger. Because mind you, what I say, for somebody to do something to you, they gotta validate it. It's gonna be in that tone.
And or justify, like the validate and the justify.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be in that tone when they talk to you. It's gonna be in the body language. It's before they do it, I tell people before a situation happened, I be like, what was the signs? They be like, what you mean? I said, man, you saw something. Yeah, man. When he did this, I had a feeling. You know what I'm saying? But you was cocky. You had a pistol. You got homeboys. You got everything else outside of the Most High. The Most High give you senses. You see what I'm saying? So I'm always focusing on the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm cool. So if I'm talking to you, hey man, what's going on? You know, I'd have been around killers when they try to, you know, they try to start an argument. We say they got that taste of blood in their mouth, or they got that look. You know, I know that look. So when I see it, I'm like, okay, he's trying to validate something. So now I gotta be cautious of how I'm moving, and I gotta be cautious of how he's moving. Because I know he's looking for validation. He's saying stuff to try to get a validation. But I know how to use that doubt. So once I put that doubt in his heart, it'd be kind of like, man, I can't do that to E. I didn't kill that validation. You see what I'm saying? So he can't move like that. So again, like I tell those people outside, man, the Most High done put you through situations and brought you through some things to prepare you for what's about to happen now. The thing is now, you on the wrong side. You gotta come over here to this remnant so you can understand what it is that the Most High gave you and how you can use it. The church is not talking about conquering. The nation is not talking about conquering. And we're not talking about conquering like how you see the Israelites out there on the corner talking about we want to make white people our slaves and all that stuff. Man, I'm too fly to have a slave.
The conquering we talking about is like the Canada situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, how can I rule and govern out of brilliance?
Yeah.
You're looking at them dudes hollering and fussing and foaming at the mouth and cussing and all this carrying on stuff. What are you conquering? I'm pretty sure you're not even conquering your household. You taking that frustration that you have at home, your job, whatever, and you bringing it out into the streets, want to, be confrontational out in them streets because you ain't got no power at home. Because I don't see it. The world will see it. Like, damn man, what them brothers doing? I go to the mosque any day or the time to sit up on the corner and listen to what them dudes gonna say. At least the nation got some intelligence with their stuff. They have some discipline with their information. You know what I mean? Not to mean to call it stuff, but with their information. You know what I mean? They're gonna come with some they're gonna teach you how to govern yourself. But man, I come to conquer. How can I get out in that realm? I'm watching Farrakhan. Farrakhan, yeah, you might have conquered life situations carrying on, but what have you conquered?
Yeah.
That we could turn around and be like, man, you got a whole nation behind you. You know what I mean? You didn't set nothing in place.
Yeah.
I remember when I joined the nation back when I was young, well, I didn't join the nation then, but I was going to that FY class. I'm thinking they had their own community, their own like city, nobody knew about. I'm like, man, where the stuff? Then they always hit you with that line, we need you, brother. We need you to help us do that. Like, okay, but what y'all got going on right now? We've been waiting on you, bro. Man, get out of here. After you keep hearing that, and they keep using that same line. Well, we need your help. So y'all ain't got enough. Okay, I get it. I get it. Let me go on about my business. You know what I'm saying? But the remnant is here now. You know what I'm saying? So all them life skills that you did picked up that you thought was bad habits, you thought that it was like so full of sin that the Most High don't want you, he don't need you, he can't use you for anything. Man, we got a place for you right over here. And like I tell everybody, man, just give us 30 days. You know, matter of fact, I'll put out on the video now. First 3 people, you know, reach out for me on Instagram, I'll pay for your class. 30 days. And at the end of that 30 day, hey, either, you know, you can stay or leave, you know, but let that be a testimony where, take the information that we give you and measure it up against wherever you're getting your information from. Like I say, when I ran the streets, man, we didn't care about who your God was, who you came to serve, who you serving, how many muscles you got, how many books you done read, how much money you got, what gang you in. We didn't care about all that because we came to conquer. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what you got? These y'all 20s? All over the city, these y'all 20s. Okay, because you know we're gonna do the play. Hey, so-and-so, hey, where you be copying your stuff at? Oh man, I'll go around the block and all of that. Hey man, look, he go 20, man. Go buy a 20 from over there and see what they got. They come back, they sure. These y'all 20s? Okay, from now on, these are Knicks. And I used to love that. I used to love that whole, you know, I'm like, yeah, wait till they start. Wait till they figure out why they, you know, the money stop. You know what I mean? Today they have it their way, but they don't know what just hit the city. You know what I mean? We here. You know what I mean? And now we just made 5,000 yesterday. Today we only made 35. Okay. Yeah, man, but you know, we were making this for the last couple of days. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it went down. Man, we only making 1,000. What's going on? Then they start getting the word, man. You know them Detroit dudes here. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, them Detroit guys here. You know what I mean? That's why Detroit is all over the states. You know, the United States carrying on from back in them 80s, and you know what I'm saying, traveling, doing their thing, and all this carrying on stuff. But a lot of cities didn't have that play where, you know, they could just go to Chicago and just set up shop. They could just come to Detroit. Like we never had dudes coming from Ohio or whatever, setting up shop. And they taking all our women. They take, you know what I'm saying? They just having our way in the city, taking the money from our city, going home, going shopping. You know what I mean? We never experienced that from other guys because we was always them guys. And you know, back then Detroit had malls. You know, we had places we go shop. We go back home, get fresh and all that. And we go back to your city, fresh, you know what I'm saying? And them women like, who them guys, you know, them guys with them D hats, you know what I mean? But it's same principle, same thing. So now the same way I used to conquer, you know, then I'm using that same thing. It's like I'm saying, people who done been in them situations. So what, you done sold all this dope and all that. You done ran to the church. The church cannot use them old skills that you done built up through how many years that you was in your wilderness. You was in your lion's den. The church cannot use that. They can tell you, get up and tell you what, you know, oh, just tell us what Jesus did for you. Oh, he done brought me out of a bad situation. Okay, but that's all of us.
Right.
We all have been through bad situations. So you come and you say, oh man, I got emotional problems. Man, my parents did this and you know, I had anger issues. So did everybody. Oh man, you know, I grew up and you know, my parents, they beat me to death. I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. So did everybody. You know, it's not, you know, that's why now you listen to rap and it's like, now it's just on repeat. You be like, golly, how many times do I got to hear this story? Told a whole different way. Everybody got that same story. They can tell you a story that they didn't heard from somebody who didn't live that same. That story is not, I say, it's like a third, like one person away. You know, you might skip that person who might know somebody, or you might know this person. You know what I'm saying? But no matter what, they cannot use your skills. We're gonna show you how to, you know, how to use your skills. You know, like I used to call this over here the boot camp. You know what I mean? It's like the X-Men, you know what I'm saying? When you got, you know, Professor X and everybody over here have a superpower that we didn't got from them streets that now we especially don't let us get in the circle and we get to building, I get to building off your experience.